Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We are here with another episode of the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert. Our guest today is the founder and namesake of a local strategy firm that provides creative marketing communications to multiply your impact. We are going to dive into all this and the journey of my friend, Erin Mason. Erin, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
I'm pumped to have someone with the same name, except different spelling on the show.
Oh, I've got another funny story on that too.
All right. We got stories. We were already starting stories
always.
before we started recording. I'm pumped for people to know you. You know, you're a boutique agency in Hudson, Wisconsin, but you operate with like you have larger resources. And so it's fun to be able to amplify the brands of little companies like yours that provide this big impact, like I said in the opening. So let's peel off layers of this onion to figure out who you are, and we'll give you a little shout out at the end, and let's get after this. You ready?
Yes. Go for it.
So I was getting ready. We were doing a little small talk. So let's just dive right into the story because It was good. And I literally found out about this like a minute ago. So you grew up in farm country, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Northeast Nebraska. Mm-hmm.
So were your parents farmers?
Yes, we still are. My dad still, he still harvests. He has it custom planted in the spring, but he will harvest in the fall.
Good. Yeah. I love it. And you made a comment about my background there. Did they run Case IH or do they run Case H?
All green.
All green. All right.
Yeah.
I actually had coffee with one of our members this morning, and she, Kelly Johansson, she'll be on the show here in the future. She grew up in farm country in Iowa by Fort Dodge, and she runs both green and red. So it's like Christmas year round.
Right.
Yeah. Nice. So you were saying to me when we were before we get started, you were driving on a tractor with your mom.
Yes.
And you were 1.5 years old. And,
yes.
And what happened?
So it was an open air tractor. So there's no cab around it. And I don't remember this, thankfully. But she said that I fell off the back, and I was fine. But yeah, it sure gave her quite the heart attack.
So we're diving into the paradigm shifting events already, whether you know it or not. That changes the trajectory for your future.
Right? If I could survive that.
You can survive anything. You could be an entrepreneur all you want. You fell off the back of a tractor at 1.5. I don't think too many entrepreneurs can tell that story.
Yeah.
So shocking to me how many people we have from farm communities as members and on this show and stuff like that, and take the entrepreneurial route. So from a nature versus nurture standpoint, I think just living in farm country and all of my neighbors being farmers, I think farmers are the greatest business owners. Like you got to be able to do the strategic things, and commodities are such a hard thing to wrap your head around. And there's so much research that needs to be done. And the financial aspect, I think, has got to be complicated as hell for someone that maybe didn't go to school for it.
Right.
And then you got to do the work.
And you got to be able to go to the bank and convince them to give you a loan for all of your operating costs in the hopes that you've got that money. You get, you only get paid once, or you only get paid when you sell your grain, right?
Yeah.
That, you get that payment at the end of the
budgeting.
Growing season.
Right.
Yeah.
Figuring that out. The relationship with the bank is huge. Security Bank and Trust is one of our community supporters, and Andy, the CEO, tells me, they've got an ag arm to that. And I think just the dynamics of that are just so different. So looping back around to then your upbringing, do you think that maybe fueled a little bit of your entrepreneurial spirit, the independence that you need, those types of things?
Absolutely. So I always tell people I had my first job at age 3. I picked up pine cones and sticks and I counted them. Who knows how well my accounting was, but my parents, they set me up. I wanted a bike, like a really pretty bike at the local Coast to Coast. And so they set me up with a layaway plan. So I would go in and, whatever money I'd earned picking up sticks and cones, I'd take that in and, it'd get applied. And my mom took pictures of those receipts. So I've got them buried somewhere. Maybe they're on social media. But so that, and then, we were 7 miles from the closest town. and everybody's always a mile away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of time on your own to be creative, both inside, outside. I always tell people I'm not an animal person. So if I was outside, I was probably hiding treasures. Like I remember a specific spot where there's a deep hole.
Yeah.
And we put like treasures in there and we guard it. And then you jump hay bales, right? So that was fun. But I did a lot of like imagining and creativity inside. And I mentioned, when you had asked, like anything I could get my hands on that I could turn into a city, I would do. I don't know why I didn't go architecture. My brother did. So maybe that rubbed off on him better. But and then too, I mentioned like I had dolls. I loved having conversations with them. I never put on the outfit that it came with in the box, right? I always changed it up. I was always grabbing scraps of fabric from my mom's shelf of fabric. So, I mean, definitely like creativity and freedom and very, very much innate for me.
Was that celebrated by your parents and family?
Absolutely.
Like, did they throw gas on that fire for you? Of
No.
like just use your brain and just go to town?
Gosh, no, I've got one photo where my cousin is over and we set up a retail store in my room. So I used all of my mom's clothing.
Yeah.
All of her work attire. And I think I probably was even wearing it. But so I mean, nice clothing, suits, what have you. Yeah, totally supportive of it. And she'll say that because I wanted to pursue a fashion degree, they didn't know what to expect. So I mean, they certainly took a leap of faith by letting me go 6.5 hours from home and pursue something they knew nothing about. And would there be an occupation, or, could I make a go of it after I graduated? Yeah. So they were very supportive.
Were you a good kid?
I was up until high school. You asked my mom, I pushed the limits.
Yeah. Any like, can you give me an example of like, we don't have to go crazy here, but like, I think like, we're both about the same age. And, we've got a lot of mutual friends that are about the same age and stuff like that. And I think growing up in the 80s, I'm not even going to say the 90s, right? Because that was getting to be about high school, but like growing up in the 80s when you're younger single digits into your lower double digits, boy, times were different. And you could get on a bike and I don't want to sound like that old guy, but like, I feel like you had the ability to be a lot more creative in different ways. And that sometimes could be some trouble. And so trouble is relative. Any stories that pop to mind?
Yeah, no, I certainly, like I mentioned, I mean, we didn't have neighbors close by. So if we had kids over our age, it was typically our cousins.
Yeah.
And it's the two cousins I'm thinking of that were most common. I was the oldest of the four of us because I've got a younger brother. I always got blamed for whatever was wrong, but we weren't set in, we weren't doing anything like really extreme. No, it wasn't until I got to high school that I pushed the limit.
Just drinking in the farm fields and stuff like that.
Right? I recently told this story with my mom in the room where I'd gone out with girlfriends and it was spring and I had a Blazer, thank God, but it was 4-wheel drive. But we drive into this old abandoned farm place and there's a little bit of a decline. And so I go to stop and I just keep sliding. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Yeah. So thankfully there were some outbuildings there. So I went through and rummaged. I found like, I don't know, they had been like 2x6s or plywood or whatever, put that under the wheels so I could drive out.
Climb out of there. Yeah. I think that's happened to everybody that lives in farm country at least once. And I don't care if you got 4-wheel drive or not, going up a hill when it's muddy is very hard.
Right. Well, we certainly have minimum maintenance roads, which trying to remember who I talked to recently that said maybe there's some in Wisconsin where we are, but there are a lot in Nebraska.
We've got a lot in Minnesota, but
they're a little bit more.
They're a little bit more on the northern side.
Sure.
Yeah. you're so close to Minneapolis. I just say Minnesota, and I assume everybody knows what we're talking about. But yeah, we're there. Yeah. So then, so how many people did you graduate with? Was it a decent sized town or was it small?
So there were 2 high schools. I went to a smaller parochial school, so my class size was 31.
31.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you still tight with any of those people? Like, are your friends, or did you did that time come and pass?
If Facebook hadn't come to be,
yeah,
I wouldn't be connected with many. Up until a couple of years ago, I stayed in contact with one, but no, not really.
Yeah,
I would say more in connection with college friends.
Yeah. I graduated with 700 people and I think I have 0 friends of them.
Wow.
Like I have a bunch of acquaintances and I mean, Renee, who's a very good friend of yours I would say is a friend of mine, but it's not like we hang out or anything like that. Right. So it's almost like that kind of relationship. So yeah, times are different. Like time is different, right? Like it I don't know. It's weird.
Right.
When you get in your mid 40s and stuff, like everything is, I think you're going through like some weird mental stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, you have more constraints on time. So you just have to be more selective, right? As far as who you spend time with.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. So what kind of activities and stuff like this? So you've, 31 kids, which means you probably have limited resources, but also everything I know about people that go to small schools like that, you have access to like play all the sports, right? Yep. And you can do anything you want because there's just a lack of student body. So were you that kind of person where it's just like, all right, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything bubble to the top that was like, this was what I was either good at, or I just really loved doing?
I certainly enjoyed the musicals. Of the sports, I really enjoyed basketball, but I just really enjoyed, I liked the team aspect of it. And I liked just the energy you exert. Like, I think you feel really good. Did I have natural ability? No. Did I practice? No.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time on the bench when I got to be a senior, but whatever.
Do you think that time, so, that wanting to be part of a team and being a part of that atmosphere and stuff, is that why you decided to, when you were building your business and growing your business and you were thinking about what you wanted to do next, not going the solopreneur route and just being, self-sustainable and adding Lauren to the team and building a team out, and maybe probably, I don't doubt that you have some 1099 resources and stuff like that. Like, is that a big part of why you built the business you did?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't enjoy being alone. Because for the first 4 years of me having Mason Jar, I operated out of my home, and I'd say to people, I feel like a prisoner. I don't necessarily need to be around people, I like being around people, but I don't necessarily need to interact with them. So yeah, it was really nice to move the business out of the home. And as you may know, as you add team members, that allows your ability to enjoy more profits.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So, so why not do that if you enjoy having team members?
Yeah, exactly. We could go on and on for why it makes sense to have a team, right?
Yeah.
So if we go back to transitioning from high school into college, where did you go to college? Where'd you go to undergrad?
University of Minnesota. So that's how I ended up in the area. And I looked at a couple different schools, landed on Minnesota because I'm like, well, I'll know the area when I get done. Mm-hmm. So, that should hopefully make my first job easier. Because I did Nebraska, because I lived in Nebraska, I looked at UNL. Lincoln isn't a mecca for business, I would say. It's more of a college town. Then there was Iowa State. Same thing, right? I mean, not too far from Des Moines, but it just didn't seem like a good fit. So I was really pleased that I could go to Minnesota.
How did your family feel about that?
They were supportive.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
know.
it's almost, I think you're probably one of the few people that I've had on to where it's like, you seems like you had pretty much undying support from
Yeah.
your family. Cause I mean, even in the respect of like a farm family wanting to keep their kids a little bit closer and stuff like that, at least pushing you to go to like University of Nebraska. And, and I don't doubt, now as you look at Omaha, even like Omaha is getting bigger and is becoming a
Yeah.
little bit of a tech center, and there's
Yep.
startup hubs and stuff like that. I get that it wasn't like that in the 90s,
No.
but I think it's pretty fascinating that they're just like, yep, go, like, spread your wings, 6.5 hours probably or so from where you lived up until Minneapolis. So you're not super far away, but like, go figure it out.
Right. Well, my top school was Cornell out in Ithaca, New York. So, I mean,
yeah, we're talking about like not saying that the U of M isn't, that's more like a really nice Ford versus a Lincoln, right? And so, maybe even a really nice Lincoln. Yeah.
Right. So looking back, I wasn't necessarily being strategic, but looking at it now, that was right, because it's like, well, gal, the thought of her going, all the way to the East Coast, not even yeah. So Minnesota was a nice compromise, probably in their eyes.
Did you know that? So when you were going and you were selecting schools and you were making a decision, did you know going into your freshman year that you were going to go for design and marketing and creative? Or did that come about during the early stages as you were getting your generals taken care of?
Yeah. So I had the joy of being a 4-H'er, starting at age 8 all the way till senior year. And as part of that, I would sew, started out with my mom, and then I sewed with a couple more experienced women the older I got, just because the outfits needed to be more technical. And I really enjoyed all of that. And so that was really what helped me understand that, okay, I want to pursue a degree in fashion. And so, yeah, like I said, and admittedly, I did. So I switched. I want to say my first quarter, because it was quarters back in the day. I switched that first quarter because I had sat next to a gal in intro to design, and she had told me about graphic design. I didn't know anything about it. And then I had heard a story about a woman that was about 5-6 years ahead of me. She had graduated with a fashion degree, lived in New York. Her apartment was the size of a closet. And she was already back in school to be a nurse. And I'm like, I don't want to live in a closet. And I sure as heck don't want to go back and be a nurse.
Yeah.
Those people are phenomenal. That's not me.
Yeah. Know your lane.
So, So I'm like, I just switched just because I thought there would be more graphic design opportunities in the cities than fashion. Didn't know, I mean, at that point, in 1995, didn't know Target would take off to be the behemoth that it is, right? Because there certainly would have been opportunities there, but so that was kind of a pivotal point.
The universe had its plan. The universe had its plan for you, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, let's take I want to dive into the next step after college and get into your career and stuff. And we're going to get to Mason Jar here real quick. So let's take a quick break. Let's listen to a few of our community supporters, the people that make this thing happen, and the C9 community, a big part of that. And then we're going to come right back with Aaron. So we'll be right back. Mason Jar Marketing helps businesses bridge the gap between marketing and sales so they can crush goals. They're a collaborative partner, one who translates strategic priorities into actionable, goal-aligned tactics. You can count on them to deliver creative expertise and flawless execution for all marketing channels, no hand-holding required. If you're ready for a partner who listens well, thinks big, acts fast, and drives results, schedule a complimentary marketing needs assessment at masonjarmarketing.com. The topic of talent is hot in organizations of any size, and I would argue none more than small to mid-sized businesses. That's why it's crucial to have a partner to help you navigate all the HR idiosyncrasies so you can focus on working on your business and not in it. Insperity is a full-service HR partner with a high-touch, high-tech platform helping owners work through challenges like employee retention, company culture, and benefits, just to name a few. Do yourself a favor and explore all they have to offer at Insperity.com. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Every year brings new challenges for Minnesota business leaders, and USI Insurance is here to take the pressure off of the employee benefits decision. Having a local presence with national resources, USI combines a client-centric culture with leading-edge technical resources so you can make an informed decision on your benefits investment. The USI team has been deeply committed to investing into our local communities and utilizes their expertise to provide solutions you can count on to protect your greatest asset, your employees. USI has been partnering with Twin Cities businesses for decades, and they would welcome the opportunity to do the same for you. Visit USI.com to learn how USI's approach to risk management and employee benefits delivers customized, actionable solutions with bottom-line impact. Tradition Capital Bank is a local bank that has the products and capabilities to service middle-market companies, nonprofits, and their owners, employees, and families by offering a high-touch approach paired with customizable solutions. Think of them as your nimble allies serving with generosity, care, and precision. Tradition starts with the assumption that there's always more to learn, try, and discover, aiming to find the best yes for whomever they have the privilege of working beside. From a foundation of trust, Tradition takes disciplined, smart risks to help people grow beyond what they even thought possible. Tradition Capital Bank is the second largest privately owned bank headquartered in the Twin Cities, and with locations in Edina, Wayzata, and North Oaks, Minnesota, alongside their office in Scottsdale, Arizona, Tradition Capital Bank is committed to big bank offerings with a small bank ethos. Let their team be the friend you need in your next financial move. When you think of a typical CPA firm, you probably think of tax planning. Well, that just scratches the surface of what Boulay offers their clients. By providing smart, in-depth thinking from experts in accounting, audit, tax, and business consulting, they know what it takes to achieve financial success. Whether it's protecting your business, building your wealth, or securing your future, you can count on Boulay to go beyond addressing just financial matters and providing you with tailor-made, workable solutions. Learn about all they have to offer at BoulayGroup.com. Boulay, helping you get there. United Healthcare is dedicated to helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone by simplifying the healthcare experience, meeting consumer health and wellness needs, and sustaining trusted relationships with care providers. UHC is continually focused on building a modern, high-performing health system via improved access, affordability, outcomes, and experiences. With a network of over 1.6 million physicians and healthcare professionals in over 6,000 hospitals, United Healthcare is dedicated to connecting employers and their employees to better health by offering quality benefits designed for affordability. For more information, visit United Healthcare at www.uhc.com. United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives.
Tell me if this sounds familiar. Your business is having challenges with adding revenue, or you're ready for quicker growth and scale. Your sales team lacks a coach or mentor to help guide and excel their production, and you're not quite sure who the best resource is for sourcing and replacing sales professionals on your team. When you're looking for a company that provides sales solutions that drive growth, look up Sales Homie. Sales Homie is the premier fractional CRO or VP sales agency, additionally offering sales recruiting and placement services, sales leadership coaching, and sales team training programs. Don't put your business at risk with low revenues and uninspired sales professionals. Learn more about Sales Homie by visiting their website at saleshomie.com. Sales Homie, sales solutions that drive growth.
All right, we're back with Erin Mason, and I'm pumped to start diving into the professional side. So, I've gotten to know you over the last couple of years, and it's super cool to hear. One of the things I love about doing this podcast is I get to get a little bit of a glimpse into you a little deeper, which I typically don't have the depth to be able to do at the beginning of when we're looking at you joining and stuff like that. So it was fun to kind of see the prep that you did in preparation of this and see your career trajectory. You worked like 3 places. And one of them you own.
Well, it's basically been the continuation of one business, Aaron.
Yeah.
That was formed in 93.
It kind of felt like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that. So you get done with school. What was your first gig out of college?
Yeah. So I went to be a junior designer with a newly formed creative agency called Liquid Creative. There were 2 partners. The silent partner was a commercial photography owner, and he owned a studio. And so the business, this Liquid Creative, was located on site of this photo studio. And then the active partner was the creative director, really kind of spearheaded the agency. I started there in June, and fast forward to August, and my boss is like, I kind of like being freelance. I'm just going to go back to being freelance. So there was a manager of this company called Fifth Street Productions. And then, of course, that silent partner. So she was able to go back to Fifth Street Productions, and it just left me without a job. And so thankfully, the photography studio, or Joe Stafford was his name. He's like, you know what? You can stay on with Fifth Street Productions. So, okay,
cool.
I'll do that. The end of that year in December, the manager left to go to be at another agency. And so that left me at age 23 with $40,000 in the hole or in the red to, just figure it out.
And so let's rewind that a little bit. So 23 years old, they kind of, they just kind of give you the keys and the business is 40,000 in the hole and they're just like, figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't even say that. if I could go back and look and for me, like the ultimate driver was, I was not moving back to Nebraska. I was not moving back in with mom and dad.
Yeah.
Because the minute I did that, they told me what to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. I mean, they set me free, but the minute I go back, and there was I moved out at age 18 and I did not return. Like, I didn't go home for summers. I take that back. I was 19 because I'm older for my grade. But I'm not going. No. So, I mean, I bought a car, the new car. Like I had responsibilities and I just had to figure it out. And looking back when I was in it, the creatives, it's super creative, very right-brained versus, I would say for me, I'm more whole-brained. They weren't keeping track of their time.
Oh.
And they weren't billing it. So if you do that, I mean, that helps pay expenses and what have you. So that was one simple correction that I did. And then the photography studio owner helped hire another person to help me out with the photo studio. And then over time, because my background was in design, I acquired a relationship with a marketing agency that didn't have any in-house creative. And I was their design arm for like 9 years or so, and got the chance to work with very talented people, 15 years my senior. Yeah. So I can get really nitpicky about stuff because of the training.
That experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's that school of hard knocks, right? Like, I think all of the things that you learned, it's almost like free college was just like
that was just kind networking.
You were just checking the box. Right. And
totally.
you didn't, and I think that there's a lot of, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that, I can already hear, like, you weren't going back to your parents and so there's and no one telling you what to do. Like, there's a lot of that entrepreneurial spirit that you had early on. I have a problem with authority. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. And so it sounds like you have a lot of that in you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And so where do you think the maturity came, in your 20, it sounds to me like you really were in a grind there, 23, probably to a little bit later 20s, every single day was a grind. Where do you think the acumen came from of being able to run the business, using your example of you guys are tracking your time. What the hell are you guys doing? Like, this is like business 101.
Right. I would go right back to childhood. As far as jobs go, I scrubbed manure off the walls in the milk barn. I actually, at that time, my dad used this tag technology to keep track of cows. And sometimes they'd fall off and then they'd get spread out over fields. He's like, if you can find one, I'll give you $5 for it. So I would go out to the fields and look, and I found one. I wish I could have bought a lottery ticket that day.
Yeah, you should have.
But I walked beans. I mean, I just did hard stuff that nobody, when they talk about the dirtiest jobs, in the world, whatever. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I did, like roll up your sleeves. I mean,
Yeah.
so to sit in a comfy office with air conditioning and computer, that's easy to walk in the
Yeah.
park,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Or
Right.
it's just a
In the
different
grand
kind
scheme
of
of
hard.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, in the grand
It's,
scheme of things.
you're
So
you're
that,
flexing your brain versus flexing your body
yes.
now. Yeah. Mhm.
And then too, I mentioned we went to parochial school, so there's certainly a fee, right, for education. And so
Mhm.
because my dad had the business, he would pay us. And so I mean, at a very young age, I was writing out checks to guardian angels to
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, like, yeah, I had a really good pulse on,
The fiscal side.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So your entire time, the liquid creative, great
Yeah.
name, by the way. What a cool name.
Right. And I think it's still in existence.
Is it?
I haven't run into Chris in a long time, but yeah, I believe he still is a solopreneur, extremely talented, creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Mhm.
name. Like, yeah, I saw that and I'm like, oh, I wonder if that place is still around. So if it is,
Yep.
great name, dude. Like, way to go. Love that. There was, remember in the 90s, Liquid TV was a show on MTV. I don't know if you had MTV,
I
but
didn't have,
like,
no.
it was probably like late 90s when I was in college. But anyway, so that's a cool name. But
Yep.
then you were at Fifth Street for how long total?
So 14 years.
Wow. Now to level set us back on your timeline, what year was that you decided to leave there or
Yeah.
wind it down, whatever you did with
Yeah.
that, and then go
So-
into Mason jar?
Yeah, 2013, stars kind of aligned. The name for Mason Jar came to me in 2008 when I was having my third and final child. I think I was sitting in rush hour. And so for 5 years, there was kind of this just little internal push to like, hey, you're running the business. Why not own it? So 2013, there were a couple things that had happened. The big one for me was all 3 of my kids were school age. And
Wow.
commuting from Hudson, going through 2 downtowns, I needed time back, or I just needed more flexibility. And I couldn't do, 2 to 3 hours in a car every day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think in September is when I moved Fifth Street home, met with the photography owner, and he's like, you know what? You go ahead, open up your separate company in Wisconsin. We'll shut down Fifth Street the end of this year. I walked away with a bonus and I was able to buy
Wow.
some of the equipment. So, I mean, and then the great thing is there was no disruption in client relationships. So
Yeah.
it was like, it was just like nothing had happened, except it didn't change.
So, okay. So that was
Yeah.
going to be my next question is did you just effectively just do the
Yeah.
same thing, just under a
Yeah.
different brand?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to buy the business, which was really
Okay.
nice because I mean, he was extremely hands off. Like I would have to go
Yeah.
to him and be like, hey, can we meet?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's not uncommon, right? Like I think,
you're my-
yeah. I've been on both sides of that actually.
Right.
So I can actually probably see the
Right.
commonality and all that. Yeah.
Right. But you'll love this. So, I mean, there were several employees for the photo studio,
Mhm.
but the person who could co-sign checks was me.
That's funny. Yeah.
And I was, one of the youngest ones.
All right. I want to dive into a few things in that, what you just
Yeah.
said over the last few minutes. So you must have got married pretty young.
25.
And did you have kids right away?
Nope. 28.
Wow. Okay. All right. I just
Yeah.
was kind of tracking a little bit.
Yeah.
So did you feel like you had I don't want to say like a sense of freedom, but like a little bit of a sense of freedom when all your kids were going to school, effectively being taken care of from 7:30 until 3:30, right? To
Yeah.
where that was a catalyst for you to be like, okay, now I've got freedom to be able to do my own thing? Or was it a combination of that and the opportunity that you saw with what was going on at Fifth Street?
Certainly the latter, but it was, so the youngest was starting pre-K, which meant Jarrett would have been in second grade, third grade, I don't know, but he was involved in activities.
Gotcha.
So being able to go see whatever that activity was, if it was maybe it was flag football, I don't know, but being able to go see if he had a game or what have you. And my husband, the super guy that he is, like up until that point, there was one year where the kids were in 3 different spots every day. He was responsible for 5 out of the 6 drop-offs and pickups.
Wow. That's dedication.
Yeah.
That's partner in crime right there.
Right. Because I mean, Jarrett, who was in elementary school, I mean, he had to do school age care because I mean, he couldn't be at home at his age. Yeah. Even though he tried, he attempted a couple times.
Yeah.
And went missing for an hour. But yeah.
Oh boy. There's a whole that sounds like a whole podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Missing Children's podcast. And then you didn't talk about the name, but the why behind the name. It's great. I mean, first of all, I love the name. We use mason jars in our house for our drinking glasses, but then also too, I think, I grew up with my grandma and my mom canning and all that other stuff. Ironically, it's your last name. Is it, I shouldn't say this, but like, is it more than just your last name and it's just a cool thing, or is there some homage to something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's my married name, Mason, but it's shorter than my maiden. So no question there. Yeah. So for me, first off, it does pay homage to my hardworking mother and grandmothers, because I look at them, they really paved the path for my generation and younger generations to go to work, and then even own a business. Right. So that was really important to me. And then, to look at a mason jar, it's innovative, it's sustainable, it's transparent, it's everything down to my core. It just totally aligns with my values. And then, I mean, the cherry on top, of course, is my last name is Mason.
Yeah. Right.
So so
I love it.
And 2, certainly those first 13, 14 years of working in the cities, the photographer, that photo studio, they shot primarily food. So I worked on a lot of food. And what's the most common use for a mason jar?
Yeah.
Canning,
food.
right? Like you said. So
yeah. So are you in your 11th year? If I'm doing the math right, 2013, 2024. If we look back on that time, what do you think has been one of the most valuable lessons that you've learned as a business owner? And I'm just talking about mason jar.
Ooh, yeah. How much time do we have? I'm going to go with trust my gut.
Oh, I love that.
And I will say right now I'm working with a mindset coach, and I'm really working hard to distinguish between the voices, right, that come into our head. And, where is truth? Because some of those voices are other people, and there's no truth behind that.
Yeah. Gut usually never lies, right? But you got to trust outside resources. You got to trust your brain a little bit. Sometimes the truth lies in the middle, but that's cool that you hired a mindset coach. I love that. That's a nice investment. I think, I'm a big fan of coaches. Obviously I'm a peer group guy too, but I don't think that's not a silver bullet, right? I think that's just one tool in the chest, right? But then I think a coach of something, but a mindset coach, that's awesome as a business owner.
Well, I mean, I learned early on, like 2015, 2016, I'm the biggest obstacle, and I'm still an obstacle, but I'm really in the last 2-3 months, really breaking through.
Cool.
That's
awesome, by the way. So thank you for sharing that. I love that. So then as we sit now, I feel like even in the short time that I've known you, like you've gone through some iterations of what this business looks and feels like. And like in transparency, you and I had a conversation last year where you're like, hey, I'm working through some details and some strategy things to where, I'm not ready to amplify some of the things that we're doing yet and some of that stuff. First of all, that's super cool. And that is probably a testament to some of the work that you're doing interpersonally and, investing in the strategy so that you're doing it the right way. How is that now to where you're at now? How has that evolved? And what is the work that you're doing now as opposed to what maybe you would have been with just as a creative firm?
Yeah. So I would say at our core, we're still highly creative. We have the experience of an agency, but not an agency price tag. And certainly, I more recently, I'd like to say that, we help marketing and sales teams bridge that gap between, right? I've had people tell me, don't say this, but I can't, I mean, the number of times I've gone in and met with clients and I see box after box of collateral we've designed for them.
Yeah.
And it hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so that did prompt a solution that we've executed for a couple clients in which we develop custom creative and messaging to their brand. And again, it's custom, right? So it depends on, how they want to position themselves in the marketplace, what they want that message to be. But then after we've created it, we actually execute it. So we send it out on their behalf. A lot of times we'll include a handwritten note because, as we all know, I mean, we are inundated with messages and images all the time through our phone, our computer, our TV. So, if there is a way to connect with somebody, have something in their hands, that isn't a digital screen, that leaves an impression, or maybe hopefully a more memorable impression. So we have certainly had great success with that. Typically it's double-digit numbers, and certainly goes higher if the sales rep follows up, right? So there's that piece of it too, right? Everybody has to buy in, but we try to take on a little bit more responsibility because, running a business is hard. Everybody's pulled in multiple directions. Everybody has multiple hats to wear. So that's been one solution. And then two, this happened back in 2017. And it came from my friend Renee, who said she was going to revolutionize the recruitment industry. And I'm like, well, I want to revolutionize design. How do I do that? So looked at pain points, and it was specifically with small businesses because they'd come to us. They need marketing, both print and digital channels. But a lot of times they wouldn't have the time to get back to us. Time was the biggest constraint. So I developed the 2-week marketing refresh. And so we were able, again, to implement that for a couple clients, worked really well. The biggest challenge for me was getting it at a price point that worked for both parties. But we were always able to deliver in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, that was a redesign of their logo, a new website, collateral, just kind of the gamut. What they needed back in 2017. Of course, things have changed a little bit in the last 6-7 years, but we're excited now because we have partnered up with Kate DeLeo of the brand Trifecta, and she is launching a sort of similar offering called the Revenue Accelerator. But the great thing about it, it's only 3 days. And so, so we're really excited to be a design partner.
And I'll tell you right now, so I don't know if you knew this or not, but Kate was my brand strategist for Coalition9.
Oh, really? Well, maybe I did know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's that's going back 2018, I think. When she and her prices have changed. I can tell you that much because I basically was like, all right, I'll make this investment. And she was the first thing I invested in when I started my business. Started Coalition9 because she has her process and I respected the process. I understood it. So then, I think that's a good thing to hitch your wagon to. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, because like I said, back in 2017, it felt really good, right? Because I wasn't having to follow up with clients that, I hadn't heard from in a month, right? Because they just didn't have the bandwidth to spend time on marketing. Yeah. And they were able to walk away with, marketing to go. It's all done.
And so I'll tell you, I'll give you some firsthand experience on your process and your style. So, I get sent stuff occasionally and things like that. And some things they really hit and some things it's like, all right, I get it. That's nice. And I'll tell you, end of February, on February 29th, I get in the mail a handwritten note for Happy Leap Day. And I think I was like, oh, I get it. I loved it because it was very personalized. It was non-traditional. It felt super good. I think I even posted on LinkedIn about it, which I never do that stuff. And I just felt like it was so different and in so many different ways, like all the layers that I talked about, why. And those are the things I think that matter, right? And those are the things you talk about from a time perspective that it's crazy the amount of impact a handwritten note can have. And sometimes for no reason at all, except for freaking Leap Day or something like that. Right. But yet the impact that it has on the person that receives it is so profound. and you're not going to hit all of them, but I got to believe you've got a healthy 50 to 70% of the people that get those things, they actually open them, they actually look at them, and they actually go, that's pretty smart.
Right. And they respond.
That's
or they
so
reach
to me, like, what I love about what you do is that nothing is off the table. Like, I think that, you've got the website brand stuff, you've got social media, digital strategy, all the stuff that it seems like there's a lot of people that do that stuff, and there's a reason for it because everybody needs it. However, it's also like, let's not be afraid to sign some cards and send some personal stuff. And it's not all about gifts. Sometimes just a card in the mail can make all the difference in the world. So that's the kind of stuff that I think I like, though, being a boutique agency and taking an approach to where really nothing is off the table. Let's just do what's best for the client and to help them win some business. I think is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Sweet.
You said it
Sweet.
well.
Good. Awesome. Good. Is there anything that I missed on Mason Jar, or are you feeling good about like us diving into that? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. What's your family? So you and your husband together forever. Right?
Do you want that quick story?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yes.
So I'm a freshman at the University of Minnesota. I happened to meet a gal at New Student Weekend. We discovered we were in the same dorm on the St. Paul campus, which is like Siberia, right? If you're on the Minneapolis campus.
Yeah.
Befriended her. She happened to be a legacy to a sorority. And so I didn't go through rush week or recruitment week, whatever they called it, but I did go with her to one party, and they extended me a bid, and I joined because why not take risks, right? That's just how I roll. So that sorority was paired up with my husband's fraternity. And so because he was in an ag fraternity on the St. Paul campus, they would have a float that they'd pull through the parade versus a house front, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, decorating the house front. So we were on the homecoming float. Somebody introduced me to him. Oh, hey, his name is Aaron. Hey, this is Aaron. I'm like, oh my God.
Wait a second. Your husband's name is Aaron? Yes. Aaron, like Aaron?
Yes.
Oh man, that's confusing as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. He Aaron, she Aaron. Yeah.
I have friends whose name is Sean and Sean. So that's this is not uncommon. So that's weird.
Exactly.
That's confusing.
Yeah. So they introduced us, and if you're familiar at all with floats, it was covered in chicken wire and they paste it with glue, and then they do tissue, right? Pomping is what they call it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm pumping Badger fans, red and white, because he was from Southeast Wisconsin. I'm like, well, those are Husker fans too. So rest is history, right? I come home, or I call my parents and tell them that I'm dating somebody, and his name is Aaron. And my mom is floored because she said that I came home from my first day of kindergarten and I was irate because there was a boy in my class whose name was Aaron.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, you're dating. Yeah. So
full circle. Full circle.
Totally.
Life came full circle.
Yep.
Paid you back after you not liking that first Aaron.
Exactly. And thankfully, at that specific time, cell phones were really becoming a more desirable commodity, right? They were smaller, they weren't blockish. That was like 2000, 2001. And so we never had a landline. So it was, it would only be if we were both in person and family. And so that's why I said he Aaron, she Aaron, or they use our middle name. Yeah.
Yeah. Nicknames or something like that.
So no big deal. And our kids are not named Aaron.
They're not. What do you, so you have 3 kids. Yes. Tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah. So the oldest, Jarrett, graduated last year from high school. He took a gap year. Best thing he could have done. He now really wants to go to be a full-time student in Germany. Cool. So he's working on taking an aptitude test to pursue poli-sci and eventually become a foreign service officer. Wow. My daughter McKenna is junior in high school, works quite a few hours at St. Croix Baking. I call it her sport. As a cake decorator. Cool. So if you go and show up, she's the one who's decorated the cakes in the class case. It's been great because she's like, I know I don't want to do this as an adult full time. I'm like, well, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Get it out of the way.
Totally. And then the youngest, Jillian, is a freshman. Got to be in everything. Yeah, keeps us on our toes. I get scolded for breathing. Typical.
Typical kid.
Yeah. So all good though. Very independent. I would say our travels have really been a positive influence on that.
Cool.
So yeah.
Good. Sweet. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's listen to a few more of our community supporters. Then we're going to dive into 9 questions with Erin. She has no idea what I'm going to ask her, and hopefully she's not too nervous. All right, we'll be right back with Erin.
As a boutique Twin Cities-based investment banking firm, Madeira Partners works closely with family, founder, and management-owned businesses, bringing over 25 years of experience and hundreds of successful transactions to the table. It's in their DNA to educate owners on what potential exit opportunities look like, along with any industry or company-specific things to think about to make your business more attractive to potential buyers. Regardless if you want to sell tomorrow or in 10 years, the team at Madeira Partners would love to provide their expertise and guidance along the way. Take some time to explore their website at madeirapartners.com. Madeira Partners, your life's work deserves our best work. Kaisa Wealth Management treats each client like a member of the family. Acting as your personal CFO, we are fiercely devoted to your financial prosperity. At Kaisa, our wealth strategies are aligned with your core values, creating a wealth plan centered around legacies you wish to create. This is our Kaisa commitment. Our wealth strategies are dynamic and tailor-made for your long-term goals because as a fee-only investment firm, excellence in service is not just a promise, it's our baseline. Whether it's selling a business, planning succession, creating a legacy, navigating life challenges like death or divorce, supporting executives on the move, planning retirement, or preserving family wealth, we are here for you. Find out how we can help to simplify your wealth at kaisawealth.com.
Verseek Search and Consulting is thrilled to support Coalition 9 for an exciting year ahead. Verseek is a Minnesota-based, high-performance recruiting firm that specializes in interim solutions, direct hire, and executive leadership search. Our team of experienced professionals and seasoned leaders across various areas of expertise and industries have been in your shoes. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people, and few areas of your business are more critical than your finance and accounting team. You need talent who can move the needle while winning the trust of leaders and stakeholders in your organization. Your people make it possible. Verseek can help connect you with the talented candidates within finance and accounting for consulting or direct hire needs, as well as within other industry areas in executive search, direct hire, and interim solutions. People are the ultimate business advantage. Find your people together with Verseek and make the best possible for your business. Learn more by visiting Verseek.com and by following Verseek on LinkedIn.
Are you a local business owner looking to take your enterprise to the next level? Look no further than Security Bank and Trust Company, your partner in growth. Our dedicated team of smart, experienced bankers understand the unique challenges and opportunities facing businesses like yours. With personalized financial solutions and expert advice, we're here to help you succeed every step of the way. From tailored business loans to cutting-edge digital banking services, Security Bank and Trust is committed to your success. Experience the difference a local bank can make. Visit us today at any of our convenient locations or online at security-banks.com. Security Bank and Trust, growing together.
Regardless if you're a startup just figuring things out or a medium-sized organization with a full team, having a legal partner by your side is crucial. Seiler Law is fiercely loyal to their clients and are passionate about removing headaches and roadblocks that can pop up during the growth of your business. Whether you need general outside counsel, are planning a business transaction, or even need someone to guide you through the estate planning process, the team at Seiler Law are the advocates for you. Visit seilerlaw.com to learn more. Seiler Law, where experience meets pragmatism. In addition to our amazing prospering and thriving level supporters, we want to shine a spotlight on our equally amazing evolving level supporters. Alliant Insurance Services, Bauer Design Build, Beyond Design Resource Group, Entrabank, Fluid Interiors, and Modern Foundation. All of the Coalition 9 community supporters can be found at coalition9.com/community-supporters.
All right, we're back with Erin Mason from Mason Jar Marketing. Okay, I got 9 questions ready to roll for you. Can you confirm to me that you have no idea what I'm about to ask you?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, let's do this as quick fire style as possible. Ready?
Yes.
Number 1, name one song that when it comes on the radio, you have to sing out loud.
Macklemore's Hold the Ceiling Up. I'm horrible with musician names and song titles. Sorry.
Oh, it's so good. All right. You got another one? Fire away.
No.
No? All right. You're so...
Just give me since it'll be cut. I'll look up my playlist because I've got it right here on my computer. So that will.
That's fine if you want to do that. Otherwise, we can just roll with it. That's a good one, the Macklemore one.
I don't know what the name of it is. Do you know what the name of it is? And I'll re-say it.
No,
I don't know. It's just the hold the ceiling up.
I think we should keep this whole interaction part of the podcast if you're cool with that. This is hilarious.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
All right, good. All right. We're not doing it. Production crew, we're not changing anything. That was awesome. First of all, that was only the first question. This is gonna be a shit show. All right. Well, all right. Living in farm country. What was your first car?
It was a 1982 Buick LeSabre. Took me half a mile to get up to 55.
What color?
It was like a goldish beige. It had plush seats and an 8-track. Yeah.
Nice car.
It was a tank.
Yeah, those were tanks. I think every high school had a handful of those in the parking lot, I think, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I drove it on my first day to 8th grade, 14.
Geez, farm country for sure. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Times have changed there too.
Yep.
What was your favorite cartoon or TV show as a child?
Growing Pains.
Yeah. Kirk Cameron fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wasn't? Describe the perfect meal.
I'm going to say right now, I like to go for punch pizza. So I'll do a half punch salad and the Bambini margarita.
Oh, nice. Pizza, salad, and margarita.
And primarily because I'm probably with one of my kids. Right now, I'll take as much time with them as I can get.
Yeah, that's awesome. Smart move. Food just happens to be a good vehicle for that.
Yeah.
What is one of your hidden talents?
I can sew.
We established that, and it sounds to me you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you make stuff or do you fix stuff or both?
No, I can fix stuff. I don't sew regularly. No.
Yeah, but you can. All right, cool. What do you do or where do you go for creative inspiration?
I would say I meditate and I observe and I ask.
That's
deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Probably a lot of listening. I'm a meditator as well. We did our last event. We did meditation for high performers. I know you were traveling and you couldn't make that one. There's a couple of really good ones that she dropped on us that I had never heard of before. One called Deep Listening, which that kind of aligns with what yours were, is to sit in an area and try and do everything you can to shut off all your other senses of sight, smell, taste, feel, and then just really focus on all your surroundings. And I tell you, 5 minutes went by and it blew my mind. That was a really good one. And then a 5 senses one, which was like, I'm gonna screw this up. So sorry, Jana was our leader in this. And so I'm gonna screw it up, but it's something like identify 5 things you hear. Okay. And then mentally note those. Identify 4 things you smell. Identify 3 things you see, identify 2 things you taste, and 1 thing you feel. It was good. So as a meditator, one meditator to another, I thought, and I love that you're writing those down. They were very good. So they were just a couple of things that I thought were good. What is one quality in a person that impresses you?
Several came to mind. I'm going to go with they listen or they ask questions.
Listening. Yep. Love it. That curiosity again, right? Listening and curiosity. I love how it keeps coming back to that. When making a big decision, what is one question you ask yourself before you finalize it?
I've got a series of 4 from that mindset coach. I can't remember them because I make so many decisions in a day, right?
Yeah. This would be a massive one, though. This is like a new hire or something like that.
Right. Is this something I want to be, do, or have?
I like that. Be, do, or have. I like that.
Yeah.
Good. That's simple too. Fire away.
Yep.
Love that. All right. We're already at number 9. Probably the hardest one, though. How, in your own words, would you define success?
It's certainly something very individual. So for me, success looks like I have loving relationships with immediate family members, my husband, my kids, my parents, brother and his family. I'm healthy. I'm happy to get up and go to work every day. I'm able to see the world. I have healthy relationships with friends here and abroad. Yeah. And then I have a good relationship with God and the universe.
Well said. I think you could have replaced the term happiness with success too. It sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Erin, you're a fascinating person that not enough people know, and they should know. So, we get random people that listen to this from all over the Twin Cities and Minnesota and Wisconsin and the world. I'm not too worried about the world people, but thanks for listening and watching. Appreciate that. So how can people find you? How can they, whether it be the socials or online or whatever?
Yeah. So best way would be masonjarmarketing.com. We've got a button up at the top, navigation, that says schedule a call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Sweet.
start there. That's easy.
You're pretty active on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah. So I believe my handle is Erin, ERINK MASON, Erin K. Mason.
And we'll link your website and your LinkedIn profile and your LinkedIn business profile on our show notes. So anybody who's listening or watching us on YouTube can go ahead and click on those. I got to say, this was great. I know that you were a little apprehensive of doing it at the beginning, and I think it just came down to a timing thing. You crushed it today, Erin, and I love having you on the show. And I got to say also, I love having you part of the Coalition9 community. It's always fun to see your smiling face at events. The group raves about you as being a part of that group, with Summer leading the charge. So thank you so much for being a part of the community and helping make such a positive impact on the greater business community.
Thank you. So appreciate all that you do and the passion that you have to really build out a healthy and positive community.
That's what we're all about. I'm
awesome.
I'm honored to have you part of it. Yep. We're all better together, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, on behalf of Erin, this has been the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time.